This is going to be our verbs video, and as I've done with the nouns video and the adjectives video, I'll give you some basic things that you can use to combine with verbs, and the rest of everything that you've learned to build more complex sentences, and then a list of 25 verbs for your vocabulary. Now, the first two things you need to know, basically, if you're going to use verbs, are the words que and wa. You've seen me use que in a couple of instances earlier, but essentially what this word does is it shows the relationship between the subject of the sentence, your direct object, and the verb. Essentially, if it's there, it's implying that the subject that you were talking about is performing the action of the verb. If you remove it, you're implying that some other third party is performing that action on the direct object. But all you need to know to differentiate the two is you use que when something is nearby and when you know what the object is, when you're certain that the person you're talking to is aware of what the object is, kind of like, can you go get me my folder? Wa you use when for the opposite reason, when you're not so sure, like do you hear that owl hooting? You know that there's an owl clearly, but you don't know where that owl is. You can't necessarily point to it, and neither could the person you're talking to. So that is why that's how you differentiate the two, but they essentially mean the same thing and are used in the same capacity. And the next thing you need to understand is first, second, and third person. This is all shown ironically in this language by the verb. And I'm using this word ialka to illustrate. First person essentially meaning you're just talking about yourself. You just write the verb as it is normally. Second person would imply you as in a group of two people, or we, you and me together. For that you add the suffix p on the end. And for third person, you take the word yellow, and you essentially take just the ye part from yellow and contract it into the end of the word, which turns it into iyoke for third person. Although if you are talking about a large group of people, more than two people, three or more, that you yourself are included as a part of, you can also use the p suffix instead of iyoke. And essentially the first, second, third person thing does not apply, though, if you are talking about an inanimate object. Essentially, if it's an inanimate object, you just always use the yellow contracted version of the word, and you can modify the object itself with an adjective. Essentially, the adjective is always clipped onto the end of the noun, even before the ke. If you put anything after ke, it turns into an indirect object clause, and that's something that you don't want. Essentially, like something that the direct object is having an action on. There you go. That's all I'm really going to get into. I'll do another video after this to try and show you more stuff that you can do, because essentially the verb is pretty much the soul of the sentence in Lakota. So it's the thing that gets modified more often than anything else in the language. But we'll get into that in another video. For now, here is your list of vocabulary. First, ialka, run, jo, whistle, chea, cry, wota, eat. Before I said it was wakaska. Just ignore that. Wakaska means to eat like a pig. Wota just means to eat. Shkata, play. Ishtima, sleep. Owa, to write, paint, or do math. Ayuchon, to open. Psha, to sneeze. Now bemini, to tangle or to get in someone's way. Ichu, to take or receive. To work. Ole, to search. Ohikitum, to clothe oneself. Miklujaja, to wash oneself. Itamya, to die. Kion, to fly. Uya, to send out or to grow the way a plant would. You can't use that word to describe anything that's not a plant unless you're doing it metaphorically, just so you know. Kako, to cut, to mark out like you would a map, or to vaccinate. For some unknown reason, that's on there. Yawa, to read. Manon, to steal. Hotun, to make animal noises, and you would use that literally to describe an animal or a person making animal noises. Either way, hotun. There are individual words for different animal noises, but this is kind of the overall terminology. Psicha, to jump. Wecheyeshni, to ignore the words of someone or to slight them or offend them. And tokshu, to transport, carry, or move an object in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so that was your verbs video. The next one we're going to continue with some other things that can be done with verbs. And then we're going to continue with some more things that we're going to do with verbs in the 8th video, and then the 9th is going to be interrogatives. So, mipi Oglala Nakota Hohe.